many different ways I can introduce this next guest. Diehard Minnesota sports fan, good friend of the program. He's in the Wrong Missy, which is available on Netflix starting tomorrow, Wednesday, May 13th. But quite frankly, I've never had a guest on this show prior to whom the previous guest said, you got to ask him to tell a good fart joke. As Chris Jericho said on the way out the door moments ago, in advance of hearing that Nick Swardson's on the program. And here he is on the program. How are you, Nick?
Hi, Rich. How are you, bud?
I am well, Nick. How are you, sir?
I'm here. It's such a funny question. Everyone's like, "What's going on?" It's like day to day with this insanity. And you tell Jericho, I'll break a chair over his head.
Yep.
Next time I see him, I'll fart on that chair first.
You know what?
Smash it.
And there you go. There's Nick Swardson,
and
everybody.
There we go. All right.
Giving the people what they want right there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's bizarre, man. How are you doing?
I am fine. You know, we're coming to work every day. We're healthy. You know the situation that you've been here before, so you know how far away from each other we all are. We're socially distant enough to continue doing this thing, so we're going to do it, So that's where I am.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Thank you.
Good for you.
And then we were talking about the last time that you were here. It was a week later than your scheduled appearance, which you called into to say, hey, I can't make it because I need to stay in Minnesota to continue the flow that clearly I had because my friends think that where we are sitting was the reason why the Vikings beat the Saints. And then we all saw what happened with the 49ers. So that was the last time.
Yep, that was last time, Rich. Thank you.
You know what? So who's more superstitious, you or Sandler? Who's more superstitious when it comes to sports, Nick?
I would say me, for sure. 100%. I'm way more superstitious. I mean, that game, oh, God, now that game is back in my head, Rich.
Sorry, Nick.
I've got to sit here in quarantine with another memory of that. And that 49er team was so good. And somebody pointed out, I didn't realize this, but if the 49ers had won, their parade would have been right in the start of this whole storm.
Yep.
So they were like, gosh, if the 49ers had won, that might have been catastrophic for the city.
Yes, there is apparently like an actual scientific proof that because the parade was in Kansas City, which was not nearly as overrun by COVID-19 as San Francisco was at the time, but that was a Kansas City thing. But your Minnesota Vikings had a tremendous draft, Nick. Would you agree with that assessment?
Phenomenal draft. But this whole season is so weird. It's like, it's just so frustrating. I don't even know what to think of it. The draft was phenomenal, but it's like having Halloween and getting dressed up and being like, okay, well, you can't go trick or treating, you can't go out and go anywhere, but you can get dressed up. You know what I mean?
I know, but just not yet. I mean, it's entirely possible, Nick. It's feasible that you do see Justin Jefferson out there.
They're going to have the season, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. Nobody knows, brother. But it is one of those things, too, that you see the kids that we have up on the screen right here that the Vikings drafted, and you could see how they all get – you could see how, they plug in, and suddenly, your guy Kirk Cousins can actually lead this team to a bigger year than last year.
Yeah,
do you think?
I know. It's very exciting. It's just so bizarre. I think that they should have games. Here's what I think.
Okay.
Rich.
Yes, Nick.
If I can throw this out there. You have the game, and then you invite 10 fans, but they're 10 of the most belligerent and drunk fans. And you spread them out in the arena.
Yep.
So those are the only people that you hear during the game. So you just play, and you just hear those people from Philly, from all the towns, just the loudest loose cannon fans. That's all you hear echoing through the stadium. I think that would be pretty interesting.
You know what, Nick? I like this idea. Let me pull on this string a little bit and continue this thread because I was just talking about how into the voice I am. What if you make it like a competition and America votes? America votes the least obnoxious fan off. And each week by week, they're invited back to the game in a more belligerent and drunker fashion. And then we eventually crown the worst, most idiotic fan in America. What do you think of that idea?
Oh, I love that. I think that's phenomenal, Rich. I want to be a part of that. And it's not called The Voice. It's called The Vomit.
Carson
That's
Daly
the
could
show,
still
The
host
Vomit.
it. Yeah, you know, Carson, we might have to twist his arm and workshop it a little bit.
That would be phenomenal.
You know?
I think I could make a run at that one.
Now, in terms of the draft, Nick Swardson here on the Rich Eisen Show. You as a Vikings fan, how much did you love the Jordan Love selection by the Packers?
Oh my God!
Nick.
I mean, that to me was phenomenal. Just because, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? If he could be phenomenal, you know what I mean? But
Right.
just the fact that there was, upset in the Green Bay universe and confusion and anger, that just brought me so much joy. So that was great.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and old man Favre got involved too. So, this is something that's a nice ticking situation down in or across the way in Wisconsin that you've got to be loving. You got to love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love that Favre threw in his 2 cents, too, because he's just sitting there just laughing and just loving it, I'm sure. I was supposed to do a commercial with him. I was so bummed.
What do you mean?
I got pulled.
What do you mean?
They called me to do this online campaign for it was a gambling thing, for legal gambling. And they called me up and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this campaign?" I'm like, I don't know. What is it? And they're like, "It's you and Brett Favre." And I was like, "Yes." Yes, I do. And I'm like, "Where do we film it?" And they were like, "Well, Brett wants to film it at his compound in Mississippi." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, how do I get there?" And they were like, "You have to take 8 flights, different flights. Then you have a car,
a pontoon,
takes you to a steamboat.
Right.
Then there's a catapult." And it was the whole process. I was so on board, though. And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Am I staying there?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh,
Come on.
I am so down."
Like in Favre's.
Another notch in my bizarro
And you,
knowledge of football.
and you're in the
But
Favre
it
guest house.
never happened. But they said they might revisit it.
Well, I mean, for illegal gambling, huh? For legal gambling.
Legal gambling, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
But, I mean, good Lord, just tossing some brews and some Wranglers, running around the compound.
And leaving something behind so you can go back, doing a little leave behind. Nick Swardson here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, tell me about the Wrong Missy that you're in. That you back. How much have you done with Spade and Schneider? Rob Schneider, the gang is getting back together in a way again here.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I mean, in terms of what we've all been in at the same time, I mean,
Yes.
we've got to be at about 10 films. And this is perfect timing for this movie. It's a crazy, hard R romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a good break. Lauren Lapkus plays Missy. So it's basically Spade knows 2 women named Missy. One of them he went on a nightmare date with. And he texts the other one that he's going on a company corporate retreat. And he messes it up and texts the wrong Missy, this chick who's kind of a disaster. And she shows up on the airplane. And then comedy ensues from there.
Comedy
So
ensues.
it's me, Lauren, Spade, Jackie Sandler's amazing, and Schneider. And it was great because there's one scene with me and Rob and Dave. It's just us in a hotel room. So that was a blast, just to have us 3 going crazy with each other, heavy on the crazy with Schneider's character. And, yeah, it was a blast, man. It was super fun. I mean, David's so dumb, so it's hard to interact with him. But, we tough it out. We make it work.
Right. And who's the best athlete actor you've ever been around, Nick? Give me that one before I let you go.
Oh, athlete actor.
Yes, that you've ever been
I'm
around.
gonna have to say Dame Judi Dench. A lot of people are sleeping on her, but she is well-rounded. Close second, Jeremy Irons.
That's odd. That's odd.
I don't know. This just sounds so obnoxious for me to say, but I honestly, Sandler is just so deceivingly good. I
No
mean,
kidding.
in terms of what I played with her, it's not like we play like oh, we've got lunch break. Let's pick up football. You know what I mean? Or, oh, let's just jump on this baseball diamond that's sitting here. So in terms of just athletic ability, Sandler's basketball skills are really shocking.
So how intense are these games, Nick? We're seeing in The Last Dance some very intense practice footage from the Dream Team all the way to the Last Dance Bowls.
That documentary? How crazy is it that I was in it? Did you see that?
Were you in it, Nick?
Oh, my God. I thought you were going to bring that up. There's a shot. It's B-roll, random B-roll of Chicago, and they do a sweep of State Street. And I was doing a show at the Chicago Theater, and I'm on the marquee. I'll text you the screenshot.
Okay.
And it says Nick Swardson Many Smells Tour. And it's really quick, but it's there. My phone blew up. It is so absurd. And I swear to God, Rich, I'm not lying at all. It's literally in the documentary.
Well, that's a great new claim.
I'm a part of it.
That's a new claim. Just a slight bit more than Dame Judi Dench has been a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And her great game. So Sandler, how intense is he? Is he very Jordan-esque, intense, demanding on the floor and on the court, just like Jordan?
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah. He goes there. Air Sandler will go there, and it's pretty crazy. And Spade is probably the most unathletic. He's pretty much air ball. And he sits out any game that we ever play. So that's on the opposite spectrum. Spade is probably, Judi Dench probably is faster, literally in any capacity. There was a scene in The Wrong Missy.
Yes.
This is not a joke.
Yes.
Where the scene just called, this is all it did, was called for me and Spade to jog past a pool. And we were like, okay. And then David couldn't jog.
What do you mean?
And he goes, here's the deal. Do not jog. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, just speed walk. And you can't go past me, so let's just speed walk, but look like you're jogging. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And people will notice that we're not jogging. And he goes, I know. That's why just act like you're jogging. So we do this thing where we're running in slow motion. It's like slow motion, like Chariots of Fire.
Like Chariots of Fire, right.
And yeah, but they're trying to look like we're grunting. And the director's like, cut. What are you doing? And I'm like, I just throw Spade under the bus. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. This was David's choice. And the director's like, you're not even running. You're not even jogging. That looks so weird. And so we had to force David to jog one take. He's like, we have to have one take. And we did, and then David collapsed on the lawn. He was like, that's crazy. Is anybody else? I was like, oh, my God.
Well, I can't wait to have David on Friday and ask him about why he can't even jog past the pool for 2 seconds. That'll be a great conversation.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he says.
Nick,
but Sandler's a good coach, man. He definitely, he'll push you to the limit.
I bet.
He'll push you to the limit.
Nick, thanks for the time, brother. You be well. You hang in there. You be safe, okay?
Hey, always, you guys. Love you. Hang in there, and let's do it. Football and the vomit. Let's get on that show.
There you go. I'm knocking on wood. Knock on wood if you're with me. That's Nick Swardson at Nick Swardson on Twitter and at Nick Swardson on Instagram. Right here on the Rich Eisen Show. And the Wrong Missy is available starting tomorrow on Netflix. And David Spade will be on Friday's show to talk about that and more. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.